Okay, this is how the Islamist psychology works in a nutshell. The psyche of the Islamist operates under 3 stages. The first stage is vulnerability and victimization. The second stage is silent jihad and dissemination. The third and final stage is violent jihad.
I have a feeling a lot of us want to talk about this. I've decided I'm just going to say it.
We're in Deerborn. This is the call of prayer that goes off 5 times a day here in the United States. Would you like to hear this blasting through your neighborhood? They don't have a choice of whether they hear this or not.
Is it Islamphobia to say that? Is it anti-Muslim or hate towards Islam for saying that? Some people will say it is, and I will disagree. This is the United States of America, okay? It is not an Islamic country, and we have rules and regulations here. One of the things that we do have is freedom of religion and freedom of speech. So it's why people can practice Islam, okay? They can practice that with whatever. They've been here for a long time. But what I have an issue with, and I think many of us have an issue with, is that, okay? And many other things. But let's just start with that. And I don't understand why having this conversation makes you a Islamophobe, just like transphobe. I mean, there's a lot of similarities here. So I have some really great stuff that I want to show you today because I want to talk about it. I don't care if you don't want to talk about it. And I don't care if you think of me as a racist or a Islamphobia or I'm making shit up or all that. Nope, none of that. Nope, not in my opinion. I actually do look at things. I talk to people, and I believe that the amount of stuff I'm bringing you today will prove a point that I'm trying to make here. There is something very dangerous going on, okay? There's a difference between somebody who practices a religion, but when that religion, okay, and I'm going to show you, I have some really good statistics here, also preaches an extremism to wipe out Western culture. Don't I and you, as people of this country and of Western space, isn't it our obligation to push back on that? You can't force me to accept your belief, and that is any religion. You cannot force me. But I find to be being forced to take this stuff on and to not say anything, because if I do, then I'm a bad person. I'm not, I don't do that with the trans community. Why would I do that with that? Okay, I'm not going to do it. And I do see bad things happening, okay? Do not forget. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself because I just going to remind you of a lot of things here today. So with that, I sure hope YouTube doesn't push back on me on this, because it probably will, because I'll be called certain things. But whatever, I don't care. I'm still putting it up anyway. But again, I really, really do appreciate all you subscribing to my channel. It's growing like mad. And I can't do this without you. So thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, and getting this to people who might need to see it, actually. You're not alone out there. You're not. There's a lot of us who think this way, but we're being shut down to talk about certain things that are happening. And again, I'm not a journalist, okay? But I'm somebody who cares, and I'm an American citizen, and I love my country, and I love the freedoms I have, and I believe that people should have the freedoms to practice religion and lifestyles and all that, as long as you're not hurting other people. I really do believe that, okay? So let's move forward here.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Okay, well, this dude is a psycho, and I can't even believe that this guy is running Running for the mayor of New York City. What? Like, okay, so whatever, dude. Like, if he wins in New York City, you guys deserve it. Ridiculous. This dude, if you don't know, go do some research. Scary dude, okay? Trying to bring socialism into our country and like talking to all, basically give everybody give everything for free and everything should be socialized. Yeah, right. What do you think people come to this country for? People come to this country from other countries to have the opportunity to create a lot of money and have their own businesses and to create a space for them. That's why people come here, because they actually like capitalism. Okay. So maybe instead of teaching, let's give everybody something. Why don't we start teaching people to really have respect for themselves and get a job and have a bank account and learn how to be responsible for your own self instead of making other people be responsible for you. That should be the actual effing message here. So with that, crybaby, my aunt wouldn't take the subway. I don't know if you all remember, but let me just remind you of this. So his aunt was scared to take the subway because of her hijab, right? Well, let me remind you about 9/11. Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, was responsible for 9/11 attacks, which was carried out by 19 terrorists who hijacked 4 commercial airlines. The hijackers crashed 2 planes in the World Trade Center in New York City, one into the Pentagon in Virginia, and the 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Okay? Who were the perpetrators? The attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda, an Islamist terrorist organization. How are people forgetting that? How is your aunt scared? No wonder she was scared to take the subway. She should have been scared to take the subway. And we should keep it that way. So I am not being Islamphobia here. I am stating facts. The reason people are scared of this situation is because it's real. So let me going to bring up something else, and then I have something else to show you, because I'm just fired up today. I'm fired up because I'm fucking sick of it. I really am.
Okay, this is how the Islamist psychology works in a nutshell. The psyche of the Islamist operates under 3 stages. The first stage is vulnerability and victimization. The second stage is silent jihad and dissemination. The third and final stage is violent jihad. The first stage takes place when the Islamist is a weak and vulnerable minority, so they will victimize themselves as much as practicably possible. So terms such as Islamophobia are used as a tool and as a weapon such that you, the Western liberal, will fall and succumb to their bullshit and will never ever criticize Islamist ideology, because that will make you somehow racist or a xenophobe. But that's a false dichotomy. The second stage is silent jihad and dissemination. And this is probably the most critical stage, because this is where it entails all sorts of PR stunts, propaganda, ideological indoctrination through religious institutions, schools, changing legislation, and the list goes on. But here's the tricky and really, really dangerous part that you all need to be wary of. Islamists are prepared to change stages and revert back when the circumstance fits. So what do I mean by that? If, let's say, a society starts calling them out on their bullshit, they are prepared to go back and revert to stage 1, and that is vulnerability and victimization. The moment you call out Islamists for trying to take over the corresponding society which they are within, they will go back to victimizing themselves. And what will they do? They will start to call you an Islamophobe. And it is your responsibility not to fall for that bullshit. And it is their responsibility to stop living this life of trying to victimize themselves, but rather actually assimilate within the values and the culture of the society that has taken them in. So be wary that they are prepared to shapeshift and change stages whenever the circumstance fits. And then we have the third stage, violent jihad. Do I really need to go through that one?
This is one of the favorite videos I found. He just spelled it all out. Exactly what is going on. Okay. First off, you're welcome in this country. You're supposed to assimilate into this country, not take over our country and then tell us that we are Islamophobes if we don't go along with your 5 million times a day horns blare. Do you know that you here in California, you can't even have like a party past 10 p.m. if your speakers are too loud because it's called noise pollution. That's fucking noise pollution. I don't want to hear your call to prayer. Keep it in your mosque. Okay. You're supposed to assimilate here. You're not supposed to take over. That's what Mamdani is doing. He's trying to take over using all of his little tricky nonsense, what he just told you. And people are falling for it here. It is mind blowing. Now, let me show you this, because I think this is a really important part of this message. Based on metrics for the Global Terrorism Index, Islamist-affiliated groups have been identified as the deadliest and most active globally in years. This is particularly true when looking at the total number of deaths caused by terrorism. Okay? Come on, man. I'm not making this up. This is like factual. We as Americans really need to get it together here, right? The 2025 deadliest terrorist groups, okay? The index identifies several of the deadliest active terrorist groups, most of which are Islamic. Oh my God. Islamists. Islamist State and its affiliates, IS and its branches such as ISK in the Afghanistan and ISWA in West Africa were responsible for more deaths than any other group in 2024. This is actually making me sick. The network is active in dozens of countries with significant operations in Syria, which I'll be doing a video on, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and across Sahel. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And then it goes on to name 6 more organizations, all Islamist organizations. Okay, the top terrorist organizations in the world. Come on, people. It doesn't take a genius to figure this one out, right? They are, oh my God, I am so grossed out by this whole thing. So, that being said, I love my country and I'm going to say shit because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this isn't happening. So, watch this.
The city of Birmingham will not tolerate the disrespect of our Prophet, peace be upon him, and there will be outcomes from your actions. You will have repercussions for your actions. We have been trained from birth that we must defend the honor of our Prophet, and we will lay our life on the line.
Okay, you know, the other argument is, okay, so if you don't like it here, go to your own country.
But why would we do that when our forefathers were instrumental in rebuilding this country after World War II? It was our grandfathers who worked in the factories 20 hours. It was our grandfathers who came here and ran the infrastructure. It was our grandfathers who bought you the lovely curry, which is your national dish. So how can you tell us to go? We're not going nowhere. We are here to stay. Like I say, we're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
Oh, there it is. We are not here to take part. We are here to take over. That's the UK. The UK is destroyed because of this. We have an opportunity right now to stop what happened in the UK. It's giving me chills. I'm telling you, they're saying it straight out. They're not going to assimilate into our culture. They are going to take our culture over. And pretty much the UK, they have done it. And I don't care if your grandparents came and worked on the railroads and brought curry. You got paid. You are welcome to the country. And you are welcome to stay there. But you're not welcome to take the country over. Who the heck do these people? Fuck you. Who do these people think they are? And we better start pushing back. We better. So my friend Douglas Murray says so much right here. Listen to this.
No. Just bear with me because I know better than you what I think. This country has had a wildly stupid and lax immigration policy for decades. And we allowed people like the Abedi family, a family of jihadists who'd fallen out with Colonel Gaddafi because they were from rival jihadist groups. When the Abedi family fell out with Colonel Gaddafi, they came first to London and then to Manchester. And one of the sons they gave this country was Salman Abedi, who at the age of 22 killed 22 young girls at the Manchester Arena with a suicide bomb. One, by the way, for every year of life this country gave him. His brothers just stabbed and thrown boiling oil at 3 prison wards. Let me bear with
horrific.
Why were the Abedi? Why were the Abedi family in the UK? Why is nobody interested in asking that? And I'll tell you what the problem here is. There are lots of types of extremism. You get far-right extremism, far-left extremism. When it comes to jihadist extremism, jihadism comes from Islam. Therefore, if it's 1%, 5%, 15% of people of the Muslim faith who follow that version of it, you've got a hell of a problem. And the more people, the larger, this is simple math, the larger the number of people who are followers of a faith that has not solved the extremism problem in its midst or drawn suitable lines, the more extremism you will have. You don't get that from the Catholic Church in 2023 or 4. You don't get it from the Methodists. You won't get it from the Quakers, and you won't get it from the Anglican Church.
Of course there is.
Wow. Oh, wow. I just think that just so powerful. I hope you're seeing what I'm trying to do here. Sew together something to show you that I'm not crazy. And I'm getting a bit scared here for this country. If we stop telling people that they're not seeing what they're seeing, that's literally what they do with the trans bullshit. You're not seeing that. You're not seeing little kids being experimented on with puberty blockers. That's not true. You're not seeing little kids take drugs. They don't take drugs until 18. I've interviewed them. Yes, they do. This is actually real. Douglas Murray is a standout, solid journalist. He's not full of shit and a liar. This dude is solid. Hear what he's saying. That's the UK. We are next. We are next. And I am in no way saying all Muslims are this or that. You know, it's like saying all trans people are this or that. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about extremism, which is huge. This is now what I need to show you. This is what I really need to show you.
I'm a law student at American University. I am here to ask you a simple question. I know that we portray Islam and all Muslims as bad, but there's 1.8 billion Muslim followers of Islam. We have 8 million plus Muslim Americans in this country, and I don't see them represented here. But my question is, how can we fight an ideological war with weapons? How can we ever end this war? The jihadist ideology that you talk about, it's an ideology. How can you ever win this thing if you don't address it ideologically?
Great question. I am so glad you're here, and I am so glad you brought that up because it gives us an opportunity to answer. What I find so amazing is since the beginning of this panel, which we are here about Benghazi attack against our people, not one person mentioned Muslims. We are here against Islam, or we're launching war against Muslims. We are here to discuss how 4 Americans died and what our government is doing. We were not here to bash Muslims. You were the one who brought up the issue about most Muslims, not us. And since you brought it up, allow me to elaborate with my answer. There are 1.2 billion Muslims in the world today. Of course, not all of them are radicals. The majority of them are peaceful people. The radicals are estimated to be between 15 to 25%, according to all intelligence services around the world. That leaves 75% of them peaceful people. But when you look at 15 to 25% of the world Muslim population, you're looking at 180 million to 300 million people dedicated to the destruction of Western civilization. That is as big of the United States. So why should we worry about the radicals, 15 to 25%? Because it is the radicals that kill. Because it is the radicals that behead and massacre. When you look throughout history, when you look at all the lessons of history, most Germans were peaceful. Yet the Nazis drove the agenda. And as a result, 60 million people died. Almost 14 million in concentration camps. 6 million were Jews. The peaceful...
I just don't even know if I need to say anything after that. There's the numbers. That's it. And what's happening? We are against extremism. They want to destroy Western culture. They don't want me and you to have the rights to be in our sexuality as LGBT people. That's why it blows so many of our minds that LGBT people are part of this sort of free Palestine and it's against Muslims. No, she just said it right there. 75% of Muslims are peaceful people. It's the other 25% that are extremists who are so powerful and do not care. It's never the whole group unless you're in a cult. So we've got to listen to what these people are saying to us, and we're being gaslit by them. We're being gaslit to say you're being a bad person because you're not. No, we're not. We need to be safe in this country. I need to feel safe. You need to feel safe. That is one of the most important parts of the thing in this country is we need to feel safe. And when we don't feel safe, this is when the shit, because we got too worried about everyone else's feelings. This last one, I want to bring to you, and then I'll have a little conversation.
I don't know how this isn't being blasted everywhere between creators and the news, but everyone needs to share this. Opening up the southern border and allowing it to go unchecked for years and millions of people coming in that weren't vetted had to be the biggest act of treason in American history, and I'm about to tell you why. Because Al-Qaeda is in this country right now. The National Counterterrorism Center just put out a memo about this to all law enforcement. Over 1,000 highly trained operatives from Al-Qaeda have gotten into this country via the southern border. They have come from training camps all throughout the Middle East, and they are confirmed to be planning a massive multi-city attack. They are also uniformed to be disguised as law enforcement, first responders, and medical employees. These individuals want to obliterate Western civilization, and they can do it because we cannot find them because of our previous open border. We have no idea who they are, but it is confirmed that they are here and planning these attacks. So if you are someone that lives in a major city or work around a major hub, you need to stay off your phone in public, be vigilant, especially around hospitals, police cars, etc. You need to be aware of your surroundings, make sure that your law enforcement is up to date on this information, and be aware of any confirmed or theorized sleeper cells. This is a very, very, very real threat. None of this has been exaggerated. And be aware that the goal of these attacks is mass casualty. Again, I do not say this lightly. I have no idea why nowhere is covering it on the news or on social media. It's literally nowhere. Maybe it's because they don't want to scare people, send people into a panic and shut down the country, but the public deserves to know this information. Wow. Again, this is coming from our highest level of intelligence. It has been confirmed, and there's really not much that we can do considering we cannot track these people. Terrorists, please be cautious.
This is what I keep telling everybody. Like, okay, I don't know if all of this is true. I did some research. I can't find, because you can't find the truth anymore. It's actually crazy. But why not believe her? Why wouldn't you? When we open borders, this is why all you people out there, you woke ass liberal freaks who think just letting everybody in this country is the right thing to do. You can't do that when we have people like how come you guys don't remember 9/11? I'm just blown away. How come you don't remember that? When you just let anyone in this country without any paperwork and to work here, these are the kind of shit that happens. So I'm not 100% sure if all of this is true, but it sounds like it could actually be true. And if it isn't, we should still be very diligent in understanding that when you open borders in our country no other country does that. I don't know how many times I have to keep telling you people, I lived in another country. Many of you haven't. They were so hardcore about who I was, what I was, where I was, what kind of money I brought in, where I lived, how I was paying for shit, who I was hiring, all of it. But we can't do that here because why? Because you're going to hurt somebody's feelings and you don't like ICE because they might be actually getting the wrong people. And that's the bad part of the whole situation. If we wouldn't have opened the borders in the first place, none of that shit would be happening. Why don't you look at it that way? Yeah, innocent people are for sure probably being swept up in, but why has somebody been here for 30 years and doesn't have paperwork? I really want to know. And I'm not judging, but am I? I probably am. But that being said, why? Why would you live in this country for 30 years and not have your paperwork in order? So, and why should we open our borders to everybody and let them in, and then this shit happens? If you actually care about this country, if you actually care about your freedom, your family, not having to worry about having suicidal bombers in the hospital or big arenas or the World Series, you better get it together and stop being gaslit that you're being Islamphobia, Islamophobic or transphobic or whatever phobic you're being, because you're not. You're actually thinking like a normal person. Okay, our safety matters in this country. Don't ever forget 9/11. Don't you ever forget that. Okay, so with that, yeah, I'm a little fired up. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off. Yeah, we better talk about this shit. And yeah, there's more to come. Just so you know, I'm not going to stop talking about this, and I'm not going to stop talking about Nigeria, because I have another good one coming up on that one. Okay, so with that, thank you all so much for supporting me. Thanks for liking, subscribing. Baby girl, actually, she just got a whole bunch of new clothes. Presents just keep coming in. It's crazy. So I care about her, and I care about her future in this country, and I will make that little girl safe to be who she needs to be in this country, because I love her and I care about her. Okay, so love yourself, love your kids, love the future of this country, and let's go.